So, Yareli went and got herself some buffs. Buffs that were much needed, buffs that will hopefully improve her a bit, just a bit. She still needs a lot of work. So I could spend the next few minutes going over all of those changes and what else I would like to see with Yareli, and follow on with, I guess, a little bit of the negativity from yesterday, which I'd rather not do. Or I could spend time and energy in a much more efficient way by showing you the best thing about Yareli. Hands down, the best thing. He is ready. He's ready. I don't think he's but just get ready for it anyway. Here you go. It's kind of like the gates of hell have opened up and this big jiggly pink thing has rolled out, as much as to say, I'm here, what do you want? I mean, that's the biggest buff that Grendel's probably ever going to get, right? So, Grendel or Yareli, what do you want to talk about? Let me know. What do you want to talk about? I'm going to guess that you said Yareli. These are the changes that she received last night. Her passive has been doubled in crit chance for secondary weapons. However, this buff drops off the second you decide to stop moving. It could have, or it could do with, a little bit of grace time in before completely disappearing to make it much more efficient, but her passive is without a doubt one of the strongest things about Yareli. Her Sea Snare's ability now deals cold damage and crowd controls 5 enemies instead of 3, and you can still recast it to get a maximum of 15 enemies hung up by those bubbles. And I didn't mention this in the video yesterday that you could recast it, simply because it feels really stupid having to recast one ability 5 times just to make it somewhat effective. And now you still need to cast it 3 times to make it effective to get those 15 enemies. Again, the ability has no synergy with the rest of her kit. Like, they could have allowed the bubbles to debuff enemies, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, increasing the incoming damage from Yareli's other attacks, like her blades or like her Riptide. Hell, the bubbles themselves could also spread without having you to recast it multiple times. I mean, the kind of visual effect of the ability itself gives off the assumption that the bubbles are spreading. Now, her Aqua Blades have also had their damage doubled and the base duration increased as well, but they still can't be affected by range mods, and according to Rebecca on Twitter, they more than likely never will. She said not anytime soon. Now, this ability does pass through walls, right? Which could be a problem if it was subsumed onto other Warframes, so maybe that's why they're not allowing it to have range added to it. I can't really think of why else they wouldn't allow it, or they could just maybe add line of sight to it and allow range to go onto it like other spells in the game. That way it could be more effective. Now, the damage of those blades is still really mediocre even after having the damage increased. Her Riptide ability, her ultimate, will now also deal cold damage, and they have doubled the damage scaling per enemy caught inside that water bubble, while also reducing the ragdoll from the explosion. However, the damage that this ability throws out is still very mediocre for an ultimate ability. To those of you who said in yesterday's video that I was just hating on Yareli because of her visuals or that she didn't match my playstyle, it's got absolutely nothing to do with that. She deserves, or I just felt like she deserved, a better toolkit, and the one that she was released with felt very rushed, or I guess not really much thought process went into it, or lazy in a way. And I'm not asking for new abilities, I'm not asking for her to be completely reworked, just to buff up the ones that she currently has, the abilities she currently has. So if you've been enjoying her since she was released, then chances are you will enjoy her even more if they actually increase her potential. In saying that, Yareli has got one big hurdle that no other Warframe has to deal with, and that is K-Drive. Right now, K-Drive movement in Warframe kind of in general sucks, especially when you bring it into normal missions or a normal mission setting. She gets stuck on way too many things, and unless they address K-Drive, then Yareli probably will always have that going against her. I mean, once you jump onto that K-Drive, you do give up a lot of the freedom of movement that you have in Warframe, the ability to turn on a dime, the ability to bullet jump out of the way regardless of where you want to go, through holes, through hoops. Once you jump on the K-Drive, you can't do that. The movement is quite floaty, and once you go into a small corridor with objects in your way, you will find yourself getting caught in them quite a lot. Or if you're jumping up into the air, God forbid you dismount while in the air, chances are it might yeet you clean out of the fucking map through the ceiling. So until they address the movement of K-Drive, I think Yareli will always just have that massive negative about her. Now again, just to repeat, I'm not hating on Yareli for anything about visuals or anything about the fact that I don't like her playstyle. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. I feel like it should be okay to criticise without being called just a fucking hater. But if you're still sad that I criticised Digital Extremes on the way they handled Yareli, then here, have a pink feckin' Grendel.